Well, hello and welcome to this special broadcast. I'm coming to you live from Colombo, a beautiful Colombo, I might add. You can see the the ocean right behind me. It's a beautiful setting, one of the most popular roads here in Colombo. But I'm afraid I don't have great news to report from here because it has been raining for the last 2 days that I've been here. In fact, just a short while ago, we had a very heavy shower, which isn't great news if you're a fan of cricket. But we're still building up to India versus Pakistan with our fingers crossed, hoping that come the 10th, the weather gods will be slightly kinder to us. Joining me, Harbhajan Singh and Sunil Gavaskar. Let me start with you, Sai Bhai. India versus Pakistan, and all the talk is around Pakistan's fast bowling lineup at the moment. We saw it against India, we saw it in that game versus Bangladesh. Is it fair to say that at the moment they've got the best fast bowling attack in the world?
You could say that, yes, definitely, because at one time it possibly was Australia, and with Pakistan always being maybe either the shared number one spot or number two. Because Pakistan's always had top class new ball bowlers, but at this particular point of time, theirs is probably the most lethal new ball attack in the game. Left hand, right hand combination. You've got good pace. They move the ball at that pace, so not easy for any batter to get aggressive against them from the word go.
Harbhajan, same question to you. Is it the best attack? If it is, how does one tackle it?
Well, play the ball to its merit. Simple as that. There have been a lot of bowlers in world cricket, who had class like Shaheen and the other bowlers, but people have played them well and also scored runs against those. It just comes down to those mindset. What kind of a mindset you are in. We know that Shaheen will bring the ball back in. He's fast and he looks for those early wickets. All you need to do is, keep your plan simple. Not to give him wicket up front. Negotiate with that swing and pace. Early on, simple as that. Even if you don't score runs in those first 4 5 overs of Shaheen, it doesn't make you look bad. But of course, if you stay back in the crease, for a longer period of time, there'll be a more opportunity for you to score runs. So play the ball according to what the ball is doing, rather than looking at the bowler who's bowling. Simple as that. So keeping simple will be the key.
Okay, keep it simple, Harbhajan says. And you know what? This entire contest, as we're building up to it, will be a good battle between bat and ball. But for that battle to happen, the weather gods have to be kind. But as I'm reporting from here, it's expected to rain. If and I'll take that question to Sanibhai. If we weren't going to get any cricket in Colombo, as is expected, unfortunately, who is to blame? Because I know I keep getting a lot of messages here, people asking me about the weather, and fans are fearing that in Colombo we might not get cricket. There were talks of it going to Hambantota, going to Dambula. None of that has happened. Who will then be blamed for not having this exciting contest right before the World Cup?
Well, maybe I think somebody should find out the real story, because it appears from again, all the cricketing grapevine that it were probably the players who did not want to go to Hambantota, and it was so the administrator had to at the last moment change it from Hambantota to Colombo, despite knowing that Colombo is going to have pretty dicey weather. So I mean, that is something that you guys need to find out whether that actually happened or not. And then just keep our fingers crossed that the rain doesn't really, even if it falls, it doesn't spoil a game. We don't have a washout like we had in the first game against India and Pakistan. And by players, I don't mean the players of one team, players of the teams that were supposed to be playing there.
No, Saiba, you've hit the nail on the head, because you told me I must find out. I am the reporter on ground, and this is exactly what we found out also, speaking to various people in and around the organization, that the players weren't happy initially also when Dambula was being suggested. So it did not go there. Then once it was decided Hambantota should be that venue, then also players, and you're right, it's not just players, Indian players, but also players of other teams weren't very keen to go to Hambantota. I'll take that question to Harbhajan, because I know that he has played in Dambula, he's played in these venues in Sri Lanka. I'm just talking, and I want to know from a player's perspective, is there anything that is inferior in these plays which doesn't allow you to play your best cricket? in terms of facility, in terms of the ground? Are there issues that players would want to play? Because I know you have played in those places. You played wherever the board asked you to play. I mean, during your generation, you guys went and played.
Yeah, I think it wasn't the case when I played cricket. Certainly, that we were, uh, that consulted where we need to play cricket or not. If the match was in Gaul, we played in Gaul. If it was in Mantota, we played in Mantota. Wherever the game was played, And now, since we are hearing this, that players have said that we will not go to the place which you referred earlier. Uh, I think that shouldn't be the case. It is the BCCI or the ICC or the uh, Asia cricket to decide, whether where to keep the matches. It is not players' choice that they will not play in Colombo or they'll play in Gaul. Wherever the matches are kept, wherever the conditions are playable, they should travel there and play. Simple as that. I don't see, that's something which players should be even asked whether you want to play in Gaul or Colombo. Simple as that. Because neither this tournament is hosted by Sri Lanka or India or Pakistan. It is a Asia Cup. So obviously Asia Cup need to see Asian Cricket Council need to see where those conditions are, where they can actually go and play. It could be in Gaul, it could be in Mantota or wherever it is. If the matches are not going to happen in Colombo, so the only kind of games you can play here is have a match outside in the beach, who swim faster than the others and get the right result.
Maybe that can be looked at. Beach is lovely, though. Beach is lovely. Maybe we can have a beach running contest or something.
If a swimming contest was there, if when I was playing, India would not win because I don't know how to swim. I know a lot of players. I know a lot of players in around that time. They were not swimmers. So, so I hope this Indian team has got a lot of swimmers.
Yes, I know that. I know that you do not know how to swim, but I'm going to take those two questions I want to ask you based on what Harbhajan has just said. Firstly, he says, in his time, players weren't even consulted. I'm sure when you were playing also, you weren't consulted. So does then the whole, issue stay then with the administrator? Should they even be consulting teams? Shouldn't they see what is best in terms of organization ahead of the World Cup, where the teams need to play, rather than look at the comforts of the player?
By all means, consult the players before the schedule is announced. Particularly if it's a home series. By all means, consult the coach, the team, the captain, and ask them which are the 3-4 venues where you think your team has got a better chance. By all means, do that before the schedule is announced. Once the schedule is announced, I think it is a little bit tough for because you've got to make arrangements, travel arrangements, hotel bookings. They're not really easy. Because when you're not talking about 10, 15 rooms, you're talking about sometimes 40, 50, 80 rooms. So that's not easy. Don't forget the TV crew also has to go. So for the TV crew also, it's not easy. They're also about 60, 70 in number. So those kind of rooms are not easy to get at the snap of a finger. But like I said, I think it's easy sometimes to point a finger at the administrators because, at the end of the day, the administrators, can be made scapegoats. But I think it is really necessary to find out, what happened and why, despite knowing that the weather forecast for Colombo hasn't been good, why the matches were not held in Mantota.
I'm just going to extend that question, Sanibhai. I gave you certain reasons reporting from here that the players, actually, the reservation was regarding, staying facilities, training facilities, the ground. Just as I asked Harbhajan Singh, let me ask you that also, Sanibhai. You've been there. You've been there as a commentator in these places, whether it's Mantota, whether it's Dambulla. Are the training facilities, grounds, or places to stay that inferior that the team can't stay? And I just want to mention that while I covered a lot of I covered a lot of Harbhajan Singh's generation. When they needed to get practice before a game, they played in Karnail Singh Stadium, which clearly does not even rank anywhere close to the stadiums that you had. We've had players play in Lahali and godforsaken places in India where they have to stay in guest houses, not 5-star hotels. But when you have to play a match, you just go, you land up wherever you need to play a match. Should these things also be considered in terms of comfort or recreation or gym facilities, training facilities?
Well, I mean, obviously you want the players to be in a proper mental state to be able to give off their best, and which means that you have to look at these things like training facilities, practice facilities, gym facilities. I totally understand that's a modern way to go about. Totally understand that. But sometimes, in situations like what we have over here, you've got to look at the larger picture. The larger picture that if Hambantota has less chance of rain or no chance of rain, while Colombo has got more chances of rain, then you've got to look at the bigger picture in terms of what the Asia Cup can do for you, because Asia Cup is also a place where you can experiment a little bit with your combinations. Asia Cup is a place where you can also actually get into stride, get into form for the big event that is the World Cup. Not for a moment am I suggesting that the Asia Cup is to be taken lightly. The Asia Cup also has to be won. But I don't know about Hambantota. I've never been to Hambantota, to be honest with you. So I don't know what is the situation over there. But I think sometimes the players have to take it on the chin. They have to say that, look, okay, we don't have the best of facilities, but we've got to go out there and show our best. And it's not always just facilities for 2 days before the match. You're actually preparing for more than a month and a half, no? In other places where you've got all the proper facilities. So for these 2-3 days before a match, you should be able to, take the rough with the smooth.
Harbhajan, you want to come in? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, Nikhil, that Bentota, or sorry, not Bentota, the place
Hambantota.
Dambula,
Dambula.
Dambula is a proper international cricket stadium where we played a lot of cricket.
Yes.
A lot of guys from this team also played a lot of cricket there. So Asia Cup was which was won against that famous game, India versus Pakistan, where I hit that six.
Yes.
That was in Dambula, and that's a big stadium, massive stadium. I think that's where they wanted to eventually go because there's hardly any rain over there, and they have some beautiful hotels as well. So I don't know whether it is the players' call or administratives' call that they don't want to take the tournament there. But having said that, Asia Cup is an important tournament just before the World Cup. As a player, if I was part of any team, whether management side or from the player side, I would have liked to go and play some cricket rather than just waiting for sun to come out in Colombo and look to play. So if that was the opportunity was given to me, I would have gone there and played.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. In fact, I've covered as a journalist games in Dambula when Harbhajan, there was Rahul Dravid, there was Saurav Ganguly, some fantastic resorts there. So they have 5-star facilities. The ground is amazing. All of that is there. What's worse right now in Colombo is, even in terms of training, I went for the India training session. They could only train indoors. That's not ideal. There are no outdoor training facilities anyway. So even if you've stayed in Colombo, it's not that you've got better training facilities. So at least that's an advantage. All outdoor facilities are inundated. There's a lot of water. So you cannot be even training. All you'll get is indoor training sessions at the moment.
I mean, Nikhil, training, we always talk about training, but a lot of these new trends are the teams don't train before the games. So, when they don't train, so those training issues are gone out of the window anyways. So training issues should not be that considered key whether training happening or not. You have done training almost all your life. It's just about playing the competition against each other. That's what matters in the end. And for that, wherever you find place, you should look to go there and play. Simple as that. Sri Lanka is a place. It's a small country where everything in 2 hours away. So like Dambula is like about 2 hours away from here in bus ride. So why don't the whole thing shift there so they can have a brilliant tournament there, without any kind of disturbance from rain, from any whatsoever.
Right. I think many will say now that unfortunately that ship has sailed. So no chance of fast movement here, which means that we are going to have a rainy Asia Cup at the moment. I'm just shifting our focus. Last couple of points that I want to touch with the two of you. There is, because of this blame game happening, Pakistan saying we wanted to go to Hambantota, India saying we wanted to go. I'm not getting into it because we will not know the final picture. The only thing that's emerged is former PCB chief Najam Sethi coming out and saying the Indian players didn't want to so they are afraid to play versus Pakistan. And that's a trend that now you see news articles everywhere. My only point is, and let me start with Harbhajan, where do you think this confidence comes from? Was that game where India got out for 266 enough for this sort of a confidence that India is scared to play Pakistan, where that game finished in Palakele?
I don't know what is Mr. Nizam Sethi is smoking nowadays. I don't know how he's talking about, that they were the favorite or India doesn't want to play Pakistan. Please, someone give him the whole record, where India have beaten them more number of times whenever they have played against each other. So this is baseless kind of a thing for him with the kind of stretcher he holds at this present moment for Pakistan cricket. Says that India doesn't want to play against Pakistan because India is scared. India has never been scared of playing anyone. So I don't know where is this coming from, but they needed to sit with the Asian Cricket Council and decide where the tournament should be held and where the weather forecast seems to be okay. Simple as that, rather than blaming that India doesn't want to play. Boss, you come, play with us anywhere, and we'll beat you wherever you play with us.
Right, Simon, there's a word which can sum up this, which is called preposterous. And I'm sure that if you were to ask, any Indian fan, cricketers, all of would just, rubbish this sort of a thing. But I just want to know the same thing. Where do you think this confidence has suddenly come from? Because maybe a couple of years ago, if this confusion was over, arrangements, there could have been blame game. But this sort of an idea would have never come that India is scared to play Pakistan. Is that newfound confidence come after the last game or maybe those few victories that they've had versus India in the recent past?
Well, I mean, basically, if you have a look at all the statements that come out from their side, and which sadly our media happily, gives them, uh, prominence. We have, Pakistani players, Australian players selecting Indian teams. I mean, how is it their concern? We have, in our papers, so and so saying, oh, he should have been in the, some overseas player. Does Harbhajan, myself, Kapil Dev, or anybody select the Australia team or the Pakistan team or any team? We don't select. It's none of our business. But we allow everybody else to meddle into our cricket. And so, this is the sad part. So from there, it's always been, oh, Babar is better than Kohli and Rohit Sharma, or Shaheen Shafri is better than so-and-so, Inzamam is better than Sachin Tendulkar, or so-and-so. For them, they are always better than us. So that is what, that is the way they have to cater to their audience. And therefore, that is what happens, that, always trying to show that this is the situation. In Mumbai cricketing terms, we call, such this thing, GTU. You know what GTU is? You know what GTU is, no?
Yes. Gire to bhi tang upar. Am I correct?
Correct.
That's brilliantly summed up, Sahibai. But you know what? I'll also use a Hindi phrase. वो क्या होता है? They say ना जिस पेड़ पे फल होते हैं उसी पे लोग पत्थर मारते हैं. That is why I guess everyone loves to pick the Indian team. Everyone loves to talk about the Indian team because not the rest of the world isn't too interested in maybe the rest of the team. That's why everyone likes to focus on the Indian team and pick teams and decide who should be captain and who shouldn't be captain.
You don't allow them. Don't allow them. Don't give them any this thing in your papers or in your media. You have a South African saying, he should have been in the team. You have an Australian saying he should have been in the team. How is it their concern? They are not selectors for us. They're बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. I think, you have somebody saying, no, he should bat at number 3, he should bat at 4. Come on. We don't need your advice.
Yeah. बिल्कुल सही, sir. 100% सही. Because all these people, they come from abroad and they played for their respective teams, and now they're coming and selecting an Indian team. Wow, that's something. I mean, amazed me कि वाह कैसे होता है और यही होता है sir. No one allows us to go to Australia or go to England to make their team, but people invite those legends, so-called, to come over and make Team India. And who should bat in number 3 or number 4, or they'll guide us कि कौन पहला ओवर करे और कौन लास्ट. वाह.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up.
See, we Cancerians agree.
Yeah, lots of
I always agree
Cancerians.
with you.
Lots of Cancerians in Indian team. I'm finishing off the discussion with one final point, and interestingly, because we were talking about foreign players talking about Indian cricket, I'm going to get both of you to talk about a foreign player, and that's the last bit on the discussion. Harbhajan, let me start with you. I wanted to talk about Heath Streak, who passed away very recently. You've played against him. How will you remember Heath Streak, the cricketer?
Someone who was very, very well respected in that Zimbabwean dressing room and also in the opposition's dressing room, even in our dressing room. Someone who was a match winner, and more than that, he was a guy you can go talk to him, and very happy kind of soul. So it's a very sad kind of news when I heard that he's no more. There are a lot of memories which we played together. We spoke, after the game. So that remains with me. But yeah, wherever he's gone, I hope he rests in peace, and condolences to his family. He was a great, great, great guy.
Saibai, to you as well. You never played against him, but you commentated on a lot of games that he was playing. You visited Zimbabwe multiple times.
He was a top player, no question about it. One of Zimbabwe's best ever players. And I did have the occasion to interact with him, being the chairman of the cricket committee, which looked into some of the playing conditions, etc. Being the Zimbabwe captain, did have the occasion. He was came across always big fella, but came across as a very soft-spoken, giant. And very sad news that he passed away so soon. We all knew that he had been ailing for a while, and that it was going to be an uphill battle, which sadly he has lost. But I hope his soul rests in peace.
All right. Sunny Gavaskar, Harbhajan Singh, remembering Heath Streak, one of the finest cricketers to come out of Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for taking our time speaking to India today. Hopefully, next time I'm live, I will have Harbhajan Singh in person, because I know he's going to be flying into Sri Lanka, standing next to me. Sunny Bhai won't be coming. He needs to recuperate after so many, assignments, commentary assignments all across the world. He's decided, a tournament or two, I'll just relax, sit back, and enjoy it from the drawing room of my Mumbai homes.
I knew all this was going to happen, so I didn't want to travel from one place, from Kandy to Colombo to Hambantota to whatever it is.
That's why. Trust Sahib, always forward looking. Trust him to, plan his travel so far ahead. But maybe a thing or two for all of us to learn. But thank you so much for taking our time. And hopefully we may get some game India-Pakistan, but I'll keep updating you with the weather. For the moment, Nikhil Nath signing off from Colombo.